Very much. Well, the governor's office is working right now to pick the man or woman who might become the next lieutenant governor of New York. The current lieutenant governor, Bob Duffy, announced last night that he will not be on the November ticket, and he told our sister station, WHAM in Rochester, that it was his decision. It's something we've been talking about with our political analyst, New York Post state editor Fred Dicker, in recent days. And Fred joins us live now to talk more about this. And Fred, you certainly have been among the forefront in the forefront of those saying that this was going to happen, was just a matter of time. And then Bob Duffy says he did it on his own terms. Do you think that's true?
I don't think even Bob Duffy believes it's true, Liz, but you have to put a good face on it. Let's say that Andrew Cuomo fired him. Would he step forward and say so when he wants to be a representative for maybe $400,000 a year of the Rochester business community? That's the job he's going to get. I don't think so. So, look, he's putting a good face on it. That's what you would expect. But we've seen, as you noted, we've seen this coming for many, many months. All
right, let's talk now. Let's sort of, I mean, everybody saw him as sort of a cheerleader for the governor, that he, in that respect, did a good job of sort of hyping the governor at all the events he went to. And I know you feel that there was a rift between the two of them that led to his being removed from it. And it was about the Rochester Business Alliance, was it not?
Well, that caused the problem for the governor, there's no question, but that's not the problem. And by the way, I don't think most people even know who Bob Duffy is, so he may have tried to be a cheerleader. He did try to be that, Liz, but I don't think he was very effective. That's the problem. The governor needs a running mate who's going to help him in the election this year. He wants to win as big a vote total as possible. Who could blame him? The rationale behind Duffy when he first ran in 2010 was that it was a gesture by a very solid Democrat from the New York City area to upstate voters, that this would be attractive to a lot of upstaters. He's from Rochester, former mayor of Rochester. Didn't work out that way. We know since the governor proposed and had passed his so-called SAFE Act, his numbers have plunged upstate. If Duffy somehow could bring upstaters back to the governor, then he would have been kept, assuming he wanted to stay. And I'm not even sure of that. But right now the governor's in search of someone who can help him in the election. And it's not clear to a lot of people, even people close to the governor, who that would be, because if it was, he would have announced that person by now.
Well, where does he need the help the most? Is it still upstate?
No, I don't think there's any chance for him upstate to really improve his numbers. Or put differently, Liz, I can't think of a single politician, maybe you can, who if the governor put on his ballot would make much of a difference for him upstate. I don't think that person's there. He does need to shore up support, though, with liberal supporters. We've talked about that, people on the left and liberals, maybe the African-American community. There's a general sense that there's softness for the governor amongst black voters, and maybe suburbanites. I think we touched on that a little bit. Since he's running against a suburban county executive from Westchester, he's believed to be at least taking a look at Steve Bellone, who's the Suffolk County executive, as a possible running mate.
And I did promise last night that I would at least ask you the question of how much of a bump does any candidate get from the person they select as their running mate?
Virtually none, I think it's fair to say, but you can get hurt if you don't have a good running mate, and maybe on the margins you can be helped. For instance, when Eliot Spitzer picked David Patterson to be his running mate, it really did, I think, excite a good many people in the African-American community. The problem, though, for Spitzer and for Andrew Cuomo is that black voters generally vote Democratic anyway, but this might motivate them more to go to the polls if there's an African-American on the ticket. That said, I think it could help if he has a woman, a prominent woman perhaps. That might make a difference, but lieutenant governors generally are seen as standby material, don't make that much of a difference, but they could hurt you if you don't have the right person. So I think he's got that in mind as well.
All right, and I know that as soon as you hear anything, you will pass it along to us,
sure.
And likewise, I'm sure. So we'll see where all this takes us next. Thank you, Fred. And don't forget, Fred's on the radio live from the state capitol as well. It's every weekday morning from 10 to 11 on Talk 1300 AM.